What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back. Oh, I gotta see this is how I know I'm an old man. We gotta go dark mode here. We gotta go dark mode. What's going on? Welcome back to more C4. You're home to all things Philadelphia Eagles reacting. The Eagles, I think they literally just took the knee to complete the 38-31 victory. Commanders did get a garbage time touchdown to make it a little bit closer, but hey, these games are always tough. The Commanders play us. I think you can make the argument the Commanders play us tougher than the Dallas Cowboys do in terms of divisional games. It's the Commanders Super Bowl every year we play them. Usually it's the game that's at home that causes us the most trouble. And while our home matchup, we did win and went to overtime, I think this game was a little bit more. And it's just like, it's not only is it the Commanders Super Bowl, we always play bad, which we give credit to the Commanders. They make us play bad. But it's always like there's a fluky interception that happens. Or what we saw here today was just like, oh, of course, fuck, Joey Slye breaks the franchise-long field goal record kind of deal. Like, just the Commanders always have weird things that happen, but Philadelphia was able to endure, win 38-31, move to 7-1 on the season ahead of next week's matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. Then we're into the bye to get healthy. This was an outstanding game through the air for Jalen Hurts. You know, we got close to that threshold, right? Jalen Hurts has that threshold. If he throws the ball over 40 times, I don't think we've ever won. We got 38. It was close. Jalen was very good today. I think, though, before we start talking about the Eagles, going into the Eagles' performance, I mean, I think the one thing you could say about me, if you're watching this as a Commander fan, you watch my main channel, is that I've been a Sam Howell truther. I think Sam Howell is the guy in Washington. I thought he was the guy in Washington last year when he honestly he fell to them in the draft. And there's a lot of good. He probably should have had 2 picks today. He had another a ball that honestly should have been punished by James Bradbury for a pick, but the good was still very good. He goes for almost 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Obviously, there's going to be some learning curves, but you have weapons. John Dotson, Scary Terry. I think if the Commanders continue to build that offensive line, maybe get a little bit more dynamic in the backfield, even though Gibson's a receiver. I just feel like you got kind of just guys in the backfield. The Commanders have the kind of backfield that'd be nice and wouldn't be a problem if they were a team like the Eagles, where their offensive line kind of made it, committee proof, I think is what to say. With all due respect to DeAndre Swift and how well he's played this year, I think there is the sentiment that almost any decent running back will look very good in Philadelphia. And I think that the talent that the Commanders have in their running back room right now would look fine if they had a great offensive line, but they do not. They need running backs like Saquon Barkley for the Giants, running backs that can make yardage for themselves. And they just don't really have that guy. They kind of have like a get what they can get. So, a little too late. The Commanders' defense got absolutely dominated today. But absolutely shout to Sam Howell. I will forever be a Sam Howell truther. And again, I've said time and time again, even though they always play us ugly, I do hate the Commanders the least in the division. And I hope every time you're not playing us, Sam Howell continues to play very good football for you guys. Looking for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. Tell you right now, we're giving him an A. The only reason why he's not getting an A+ is because on the QB sneak, he fumbled it. Which, again, that's just the sloppy mistakes for Jalen Hurts. And I believe it was him that fumbled it. It looked like it was the exchange of him and Kelsey. And people are going to be rushing and saying the Commanders probably stopped it. But that was a self-inflicted wound from the Philadelphia Eagles. They didn't stop it. We stopped it ourselves. That is the only thing stopping Jalen Hurts from getting an A+, because he would have had 5 total tutties on the day if he would have held on to it. But very good through the air. 319 yards passing, 4 tutties, no picks. DeAndre, what could he? I didn't even think there was that many bad throws from Jalen Hurts. And there's been a couple ugly throws that's been fairly consistent throughout the start to the season where Jalen Hurts, and I still think it was fair coming into this game that Jalen Hurts has just kind of been good enough. He's been good enough. I think you can make the argument as well for a $255 million quarterback, and also saying this and understanding that winning is the main thing, to use a Jalen Hurts quote. But a $255 million quarterback, Jalen Hurts, has probably paid into this game 4-5 quarters of $255 million quarterback play. Everything else has kind of just been good enough. But today, Jalen Hurts, for 3 quarters, really excluding that one fumble, was everything that he needed to be. We're going to give him a very strong, almost that fumble away from getting an A+, his first A+. I don't think I've given an A+ to anything yet. I'm a hard grader. I'm that teacher you didn't want to see. But A for Jalen Hurts. He was very good today. DeAndre Swift, 57 yards, got a garbage. It's garbage time. If we're going to count what the Commanders got at the end, I suppose it's also fair to say DeAndre Swift got a garbage time touchdown. And actually, before the 2-minute warning, had a ridiculous run where he jacked up someone on the Commanders. That was awesome. But I am going to hurt the run game just a little bit. And as much as, like, last week Kenny Gainwell had that nice spin move for a touchdown, and I think Kenny Gainwell is the best pass blocker. I get why Kenny Gainwell is out there on third downs, but I do think we're getting a little cute with the amount of not feeding DeAndre Swift. Right? DeAndre Swift, we have this approach that we have a committee. With all due respect to Kenny Gainwell and Boston Scott, who are fine running backs, but DeAndre Swift has been something different. He's offered something different. He needs to be out there. There doesn't need to be this healthy balance in this Eagles backfield. It needs to be DeAndre Swift is out there until he's sucking for wind and he's tapping his helmet because he needs to come out. I think that's exactly what we need to, because I think even if we made this trade for DeAndre Swift, and he's hyped, right? He's a Philly guy. He has the name recognition. Most casual fans know DeAndre Swift, even if you just like play fantasy football. But I think with all due respect to DeAndre Swift, if this was Boston Scott, or if this was Kenny Gainwell that was putting up the stat lines that DeAndre Swift is putting up, but Philly still would have this balance where if Kenny G, let's just say Kenny G is playing like DeAndre Swift, and DeAndre Swift is playing like Kenny Gainwell, we'd be exactly the same, up in arms, frustrated with the running back rotation. Like, why isn't Kenny Gainwell getting more carries? When you have a committee approach, it needs to be ride the hot hand. And it feels like that's what the Philadelphia Eagles have announced. Like, during these press conferences, midweek, they're going to ride with the hot hand. And it looks like that here because it ended up DeAndre Swift in the second half. But in the first half, like, there was like 2 drives where like DeAndre Swift like wasn't on the field. He wasn't hurt. He's too good of a player, too dynamic of a player for the offense to have this committee approach, to have this everybody can get out there, right? Because, I mean, Kenny Gainwell get out there on passing downs, 5 catches, 30 yards. Unfortunate that he had that fumble loss for Kenny G. But, again, it needs to be him. We need to keep feeding DeAndre Swift. Hopefully we resign him because that number 0 jersey looks badass. And I think right up there with Jason Kelce, like the next jersey I'm going to be getting, will be a DeAndre Swift if we resign him. But knowing Howie Roseman, he's probably going to be very ruthless when it comes to paying running backs, and we're probably just going to go with a bunch of cheap guys again next year because it's what works. But Swift, very good today. Overall for the run game, I'll give him B+. Look at the receivers. A.J. Brown makes history. Longest streak of 125 yards receiving. I mean, they talk about it on the New Heights podcast. It's like LeBron James stats. Like, oh, really? 125 yards? Where'd you come to that cutoff? But when you mention that he just beat Megatron Calvin Johnson, that is very good company to be in. And I think with Justin Jefferson healthy, A.J. Brown is wide receiver 3 in the NFL right now. I think without Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown is firmly wide receiver 2 in the NFL. It is ridiculous. I mean, you love seeing also his stat line, 8 catches, 130 yards, 2 tutties, but you love seeing also Devontae Smith get his. DeAndre Smith, great teammate. Devontae Smith didn't have that spat on the sideline with Jalen Hurts, which I don't make anything out of it, but it was very public. A.J. Brown and Jalen kind of getting at it on the sideline. And since then, A.J. Brown's gone nuclear without inciting drama. Something was probably said there, right? Or at least maybe something was taken from Nick Sirianni or Brian Johnson. Like, all right, let's keep A.J. Brown healthy. And I think with that being said, Devontae Smith, who's absolutely a wide receiver 1 in this league, the way that he's kind of handled being second fiddle while A.J. Brown's on this tear, you love seeing him pretty much get 100 yards on the day. Had a couple of big catches. I mean, that's what he's been relying on. Even though all the stats and glory have gone to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, even if Devontae Smith finished with 6 catches for 57 yards, like, there's a good likelihood that 2 of those catches were ridiculous. 2 of those catches were wide receiver 1, franchise wide receiver S catches. So we are very, very, I mean, I'm not religious at all, but we are very Tebow blessed to have both these guys on the team. Goddard got involved. Love Julio Jones getting a tutty. That was badass. Him getting on the scoreboard. A+ for the receivers. There was no real drops. Maybe a couple that Dallas Goedert would like back. He had one that was like a diving one-hander one that he couldn't bring into his body. I think he had another one on third down early in the game. Probably just didn't get into a rhythm. But A+ for the receivers. That is an outstanding day. And I think we saw here today, this offense, this is like, and this has been as long as I'm an Eagle fan. As long as, like, in the last window, too, going back to, like, the Super Bowl, Philly always has struggled. And it's the NFL, right? Any given Sunday. But I think you can make the argument in terms of very good teams. In terms of playoff contenders, perennial playoff contenders, is there a team that struggles to play complementary football as much as the Philadelphia Eagles? Like, I don't know how many times, and this is something that probably a lot of other teams, like you'd see Chiefs fans, Bills fans, maybe Niners fans, like teams that have been really, really good for, say, the last 5 years. Maybe it's just I'm in the Eagles bubble. But it just feels like, is there ever going to be a game where the offense plays like this? Where the offense gets these gaudy numbers, and the defense also shuts out the opposing team. It feels like for how much talent we have on both sides of the ball, both the units showing up on the same time, same day, same Sunday night, needs to happen more than it does. But the offense had to do the job today. Defense was struggling immensely against the Commanders' passing attack, and the offense showed up. So I'm going to give overall the offense for Philadelphia a very strong A. The brotherly shove fumble is the only thing that's holding them from an A+. Defensively, well, the good and bad. The good is that Eli Ricks continued to show out a little bit. I think he probably earns a little bit more reps. I think Hassan Reddick getting the game-sealing sack was nice. I think Sidney Brown had more good than bad, but played like a rookie, right? He got beat pretty badly, I think, on the first touchdown. Sometimes not great plays in coverage. Also, I believe he has 2 TFLs. He felt like he had 2 tackles for loss on the first drive or 2. Had some good plays in coverage. But I mean, it just felt like there was good and bad for all these young players. You love seeing Sidney Brown, Reed Blankenship, Nakobe Dean up here top, right? You love seeing these are our young guys. These are the core players. Where you're thinking Nakobe Dean, you're gonna see 12 tackles, 2 TFLs. That looks pretty good, and a lot of that was good. However, he also got picked on pretty bad in coverage. The wide open middle of the field was there most of the game. I mean, Reed Blankenship did get the interception. We love seeing Reed. We stand for Reed Blankenship. But he also kind of got picked on in coverage. A lot of times where there was soft coverage and a guy made a very easy play for the Commanders. It was Reed kind of closing that out, assuming that was his coverage. So, a little too soft, a little too... I think some of that does come down to giving credit to the Commanders. Their game plan was to get the football out quickly, so our pass rush didn't really have a lot of time to get there. And when it did have time, it was when they were trailing, because they obviously were in lead going into halftime. But the defense, obviously not their best performance. Commanders always play us awkward and weird. I can't remember the last time Philadelphia's defense had an outstanding game against the Commanders. I don't know. Maybe someone can remember in the comments. But when it mattered, we made the plays. Hassan Reddick made the plays. Reed Blankenship interception was in the fourth quarter, and that's just the difference of where these two teams are at right now. I think the Commanders have an underrated team. I think they have a really nice quarterback in Sam Howell. However, pound for pound to a man, Philadelphia is the better team, and in the fourth quarter, when it matters, the better team always rises to the top and makes those big-time plays, and that's exactly what we got out of the Hassan Reddick sack, out of the Reed Blankenship interception, and I think overall for the defense here, we'll give them... I don't know, C+, C, like a somewhere between a C and a C+. Needs to be a lot better next week against the Dallas Cowboys. Put it this way, the defense plays like this next week against Dallas at home, they're going to get booed off the field, even if we end up winning the game 38-31. So, game ball, we're going to give 1 to Jalen Hurts, and we're going to give the one that we usually give on the defensive side of the ball, that's just going to go to A.J. Brown. Defense does not get a game ball today. Thankfully, we don't see the Commanders again. They're probably not going to make the playoffs, likely aren't going to make the playoffs. I hate how every time the Eagles and Commanders play, it feels like it's the Commanders' Super Bowl. They play it as such. But best of luck to them. Hopefully they get healthy. Hopefully they can help us out a little bit. Maybe have they played Dallas yet? Do they still have both games against Dallas? Hopefully whenever they play Dallas again, Sam Howell plays like this, and they punish Dak Prescott, and they can steal a couple there against the Cowboys. But let me know what you guys think about this game in the comment section below. I think a very professional victory from the Philadelphia Eagles. And just one more. Let's get to 8 wins, 8-1 at the bye week. And then get ready for that absolute gauntlet that we're going to have to run out of the bye, where we got, the Chiefs, the Bills. Is it the Chiefs, Bills, Seahawks, Cowboys? Maybe not Seattle. Maybe that's what I'm blanking on. But it's going to be very, very difficult. But you know what? And this is what people have been saying, right? Philly has this very difficult schedule. They got those opponents, right? Let's just say that's who it is. Chiefs, Bills, Seahawks, Cowboys, right? We're looking at it going, oh, those are tough games. But you know what? Chiefs fans, Bills fans, Seahawks fans, Cowboys fans are going, fuck, we got to play the Eagles. Every single team that's in that next 4 that we play on the bye are not looking forward to the fact that they're going to play the Eagles, because they know they're going to get fucking smash mouth football in their face, daring to stop the sneak. I can't wait for it, man. That's where we get the test. That's where we really get to see where this team is at in terms of a Super Bowl contender. Are we good enough? We will find out in the next 5-6 weeks. Handle business today. That's good. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. That'll do for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Love you. Have a good one.